Like the real timeline on conversion, like I know you have real estate, both agents and consumers on this podcast. So for the agents out there, like think about it a second. If you're not planning on being in this business in 90 days from now, get the fuck out of the business now, because all you're going to do is set up another angry, unsatisfied customer that somebody like myself or one of your other fellow agents, or should I say ex-agents in the future, are now going to have to spend 2-3 hours rebuilding expectations and fixing the problems that were created by not having, proper expectations set. So do us all a favor. If you're not planning on being here, there's no harm. Like seriously, I promise you, if I see you serving at a restaurant and I'm there, I will tip you double. I promise. But at the same time, and I say that and I'm gonna catch some shit for that. But the reality is that you need to think about it. The people who came into this business as a step up from servers, they are the top real estate agents in America. Okay? The people who had to come up from the bottom, from the people service business. Look at Dina Goldentire. Look at Ryan Serhan. Look at these people who are massive agents. They all started off in a position where people did not treat them properly, and then they realized how to service people.
Welcome to the Uncensored Real Estate Podcast, where nothing is off limits. If you're interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate, and you want to learn some of the insider secrets and uncensored truths from the true professionals in and around real estate, you've come to the right place. Now, let's buckle up for the uncensored truth about real estate and join your host, Brian Cardenas.
All right, everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Uncensored Real Estate Podcast, where nothing is off limits. We are very, very happy to have Mr. Joe Brickman join us today. Thank you very much for joining us, Joe.
Thank you for the opportunity, man. This is really exciting.
Hey, my pleasure. And you guys that are listening or watching, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to go and subscribe to our channel and give us a like and share the episode with the people that you think might benefit from all the stuff that we share. And so, Joe, as we get into things today, let me start by just getting a little bit of your background and your history. Tell us how you ended up where you're at today.
Sure. So a little bit of background on my history. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. In Brooklyn, New York, I grew up religious. I grew up, to a nice Jewish family. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. When I was fast forward until I was 18, I, booked myself a one-way ticket from the yeshiva that I was in to Miami. To pursue a dream that was inspired by the movie Bad Boys 2. And from there, I realized that life isn't actually everything that it is in the movies. And, there's going to be things that we're going to have to figure out, things that we're going to have to, kind of just accept for fact and then figure out how to grow from. So that's basically, where I had started my own journey on my own. And then from there until about now, real quick, I was in 7 different industries and different sales and manufacturing capacities, had a few different companies that I was able to exit from. And then I was in the IDF in Israel. I was there for just over 2 years. I finished there as a sergeant with the paratroopers. And then from there, I moved back to America as soon as COVID had hit. When COVID hit, I went into commercial finance. I then realized that, I actually like a lot more the real estate side of things. So I had moved from the financing side to the asset side and got my license on election day of 2020. Figured whoever is going to win, in this country, I will make sure that I myself set myself up for success. And from there, basically hit the ground running. I put together this system that we're working on putting out called 90K in 90 days. It's a system that, I basically used for myself my first 90 days in the business, just 16 days into being a licensed real estate agent. I had a couple different contracts that were out. I was able to put over $1 million in real estate contracts under contract my first 30 days in the business. So, and putting all that together and then being able to set myself up, to have put together $100,000 in income pipeline my first 90 days in the business. And now being here 2 years later, and being able to have pushed myself to where I've gotten to in this business, the focus right now is flipped on now I'm in a position that I can share with other people and I can be that person who I wished, I would have had when I needed it. And I can be that person who, I can be there for other people and show them that, it's possible if you set your mind to something to do whatever you want, because we live in a world, in a society, in a day and age that you can get 4 or 5 years worth of work done in 12 months of dedicated, focused effort.
That's a great message, because I think sometimes, people get stopped in their tracks because of the fear, of making changes, or the fear of the unknown, or the fear that they may not succeed. And at the end of the day, the only way that you truly fail is if you quit. So you're going to run into speed bumps, you're going to have to detour, you're going to have to make shifts. And as long as you keep pursuing things and keep moving forward, you're not going to fail, right?
No, 100%. There's the well-known that they say about, people who play the stock market. And they say that the people who pay the stock market, they only really lose when they sell. And if you talk to somebody who knows and who understands, Warren Buffett, for instance, right? Do you think that there were times that Warren Buffett was questioning himself into the decisions that he made? There's definitely. I mean, look at his investment history. The guy's nuts, but he took a couple really big gambles on himself, on his way of underwriting, on his way of thinking. And he said, you know what? I believe that this is how this is going to go, and I'm going to go for it. And he went for it. And, just because he went for it once, people only remember the people who don't quit. Nobody remembers the guy who fought 3 title fights and didn't win. They remember the guy who was the first time in the ring and he was able to pull off a knockout, right? But if that guy now is going to turn around and think that now he's good and he's going to go and lose 2-3 fights, right? No one's going to remember him anymore. They'll remember him as a has-been. They'll remember him as somebody who had a great idea once upon a time and then didn't have the wherewithal to take, actual massive action on making that happen. And people will remember them as a person who had good ideas, but people won't remember them for the impact or for the contribution that they made to the world because they cash out too early.
Right. So I'm interested to hear a little bit more about your 90-day plan, because it's something we haven't really covered on the podcast, because I'm sure that when people listen to real estate podcasts, they're, potentially looking at, buying a house, maybe investing in real estate. But there's plenty of people out there that kind of have maybe this thought in the back of their head that, well, can I do this? What if I wanted to get into real estate? How do I do that? Can you share a little bit about your 90-day plan that you did that made you successful?
100%. And you know what? I love that you're bringing that up, because lots of people, I bring that up and then they, they kind of just want to focus more on my production, on my numbers, on, different deals that I've put together, which honestly, my production and my numbers is like totally Googleable. So you can go check that out if you want to figure out, how I plugged in 70 million in sales in 2 years. But that's not important to focus, because the focus that I'm pushing on is the contribution aspect that I have, the opportunity that I have right now to be able to turn around and say, look, I can tell you this shit works. Can I say that?
You can say that.
I can.
It's part of the title, Uncensored. Go for it.
Listen, some people, like I do some of these trainings and these stuff, and they just get very, nervous. So I'm happy that good. So awesome. So, it works because I make it work. It works because I went through and I actually follow this exact, curriculum. So lots of people, they'll go out there and they'll say, hey, look, here's this course, buy it for $397 a month and good luck. I'm not looking to become one of those guys who's now going to sell a real estate course. I make my money in real estate. And because I make my money in real estate, I now want to take all of that, consolidate it, and give it to anybody who actually wants to go work the system. Because the system is extremely, I love that term, work the system. The process itself is very gnarly. It's extremely grueling. I mean, even today, now, I'm working 17, 18 hours a day. Okay. And a lot of people say that it's not sustainable, and I agree with them 100%. However, live a couple of years of your life like nobody will in order for you to be able to live your life like no one else can. And that's a quote from Grant Cardone that hit me really, really hard, because I was watching it and it was one of those days that it just wasn't working for me. And it put everything really into perspective. Like, that's another thing that is happening right now in this market. Let me give you 3 actionable tips about the 90K 90 days, and then we'll talk about that. So 90K 90 days is as follows. It's broken down into an outline of what you're expected to do over the 90 days and things that I did. So the first thing that I did on day 1 is just to let people know that I am a licensed real estate agent and I'm here to help them. A lot of real estate agents, there's a little bit of this, because everybody and their mom almost has a real estate license right now. There's a very big like gap of where the market doesn't understand why they necessarily need to have a real estate agent, because a lot of the people who are working right now in this business are very subpar. And the reason why they got into the business was because, oh my God, I can make $7,000 in 30 days, basically doing nothing, just opening a door and then going to supervise inspections and pretend I know what I'm doing. And I can make $7, $10, $15, $20,000 in a deal. Yo, sign me up, right? So that's why a lot of people got into this business. But this business is a service-based business. I mean, people don't realize that, yeah, we happen to be selling houses, we happen to be selling mortgages, but we're doing so much more than that. We're making people's dreams come true. Like, people come to you, Brian, and they have everything that they have in a bank account. And they're like, dude, we need to buy a house. We're going to take all the money that we have, that we've been saving for the last who knows how long, and now we're going to plug it into an asset that we really, really hope is going to make sense, right? And that's why it's the job from the bank to underwrite the house, to make sure that the house makes sense, because you're protecting people's income. You're protecting people's personal, hard-earned life. It's not just the commission. And, the commission is the cherry on top of everything. It's being able to make people's dreams come true. And the only way that you can make people's dreams come true is by letting them know that you're a dream maker. And if you don't get out there and tell them that, then how are they supposed to know that you're somebody that they can rely on? So that's the first thing that we talk about on day one, is accepting the fact that this is a sales position, but at the same time, this is also a very, very, very much a service-based position. If the server at the restaurant wasn't going to, make sure that everything was good, but was going to serve you phenomenal food, but then with the one time that you needed a napkin, you had to wait 5 minutes, you don't feel like you want to give them 25, 30%. You just don't, because you don't feel like they were attentive to you. So it's the same thing, in your real estate business. Like, how can you expect to collect the 30, 40%, those returns, if you're not plugging yourself in and dedicating yourself to working it on both angles? So that's really like the biggest thing that, for a lot of people is hard to overcome in the beginning. Accepting the fact that you are in a position that's going to require you to show up 100%, 115% of the time.
What's the next step that they take then?
So once they're able to do that, I then turn around and I start talking, like you and I, right? We're doing this live video challenge right now, which is how we connected, right? And that is one of those things that in day 2, I encourage people to do something that will set them apart from the rest of their people. Because everyone turns around and everyone's saying, hey, I can sell you a house. Hey, I can buy you a house. This is what a 2, 3, 1, 4, 5, 7, 8 buy down looks like. I make that joke because as soon as that came out and someone came up to it with a nice ring, that's what everybody's pitching. These are all the people who got into this business to do refinances 2 years ago, because the refi business 2 years ago, all you had to do was have a phone and answer the phone. You didn't even have to have knowledge. All you had to do was just write down information and press submit. That's all you had to do, again and again and again. So people were what they would say called, quote, printing money, right? So when they're sitting there and doing that, their brain shuts down because they realize, okay, I can just sit here and do that. I don't have to do anything that will actually contribute to society. And it's the same thing with all those people who were doing all those merchant funding and all the other stuff. All these people now are looking for jobs in finance, in underwriting, because whatever they did was not sustainable. You need to build something in your business. The agents, sometimes they'll ask me, they say, Joe, you have any leads who are ready to close in 30 days? And I go, yeah. And they go, cool. Can I get some of them? And I go, why? Do you not believe that you'll be in this business in 90 days from now?
That's a great question.
Like the real timeline on conversion, like I know you have real estate, both agents and consumers on this podcast. So for the agents out there, like think about it a second. If you're not planning on being in this business in 90 days from now, get the fuck out of the business now, because all you're going to do is set up another angry, unsatisfied customer that somebody like myself or one of your other fellow agents, or should I say ex-agents in the future, are now going to have to spend 2-3 hours rebuilding expectations and fixing the problems that were created by not having, proper expectations set. So do us all a favor. If you're not planning on being here, there's no harm. Like seriously, I promise you, if I see you serving at a restaurant and I'm there, I will tip you double. I promise. But at the same time, and I say that and I'm going to catch some shit for that. But the reality is that you need to think about it. The people who came into this business as a step up from servers, they are the top real estate agents in America. Okay? the people who had to come up from the bottom, from the people service business. Look at Dina Goldentire. Look at Ryan Serhant. Look at these people who are massive agents. They all started off in a position where people did not treat them properly, and then they realized how to service people. How are some of these people able to do that? You're talking over $1 billion in real estate business every 3 months. How do you get there? You get to that level by understanding that you need to plug in and service your people. So day 2 of the 90K 90 days process is to get out there and to let your people know in creative ways, making videos, right? Sharing information. If you go to my YouTube channel and your YouTube channel, what are there? There's videos on processes on how to apply for a mortgage, on how to go shopping for a house, on how to do an inspection, what's an escrow account. Because education is what's selling in today's day and age. Education is what's going to continue making people feel confident and comfortable that they can work with you because you know your shit, not because you talk shit.
Yeah. Talk is cheap. And that's, the whole reason that I decided to do this. Like for the last couple of years, our focus on our team is the client experience. Like anybody can go, online, click a button, get a mortgage, and you may or may not be in the right mortgage. The person that you're dealing with online probably isn't going to be giving you advice and giving you options and choices. They're going to give you what you asked for. And then, down the road is where you end up having issues. And so, we focused on that in terms of creating a whole client experience. Like what do people go through when they work with us? What kind of advice do we give? And, when it's really busy and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, it's tough to slow down and make that time and provide choices, provide options, map them out, do videos explaining things to them. But that's the thing that I pushed on our team is we have to do this because we have to make sure people know we're in it to help them make good decisions. We're not in it to be as fast as possible and, get on to the next one because we want those people to come back to us down the road. And that's the thing, like you're talking about, this market right now is a challenge for a lot of people because there's not quite as much business. It's not sitting by your phone and just picking up the phone. But you know what? I celebrate it just like you are. Like, because we know there's going to be a lot of those people that don't have that customer focus and that service focus. They're not going to be here very long. If they make it through the end of the year, they're going to be lucky. Get into the first quarter next year, there's going to be more and more dropping out. And that just means kind of clearing out the field, not just from a competition standpoint, but we know that clients are going to get better experience with people who are professionals, who take their jobs seriously, who are in it to serve them better. So, I think for you and me, probably both, we're happy about this market, aren't we?
Dude, not only am I happy, like I am so excited. I was like looking over here to pull up this list that I had put together of 10 things to celebrate of where the market's headed right now. One of the biggest things that I push in my space, in my business, is always looking for the positivity, no matter where it is that you can find it. Because like you're saying, people are getting out of the business, people are losing it, people are not providing that real level of client customer service. And it's not because they don't want to, it's literally because they're scared. They don't know what to do. They're not sure if they should commit to that $100 client welcome box that they send out for their client experience. Because that $100, they may have to use that now to pay their mortgage, because if they have to choose. And that's, another conversation that you're going to find yourself, especially you with a team, you're going to find yourself having this conversation over the next few months. People are going to hit you up for advances. People are going to ask you, hey man, like, I know that you said you got all these leads and you had all this going on. Well, I'm working on putting it all together, but like, until then, would it be cool, if you're able to just spot me a little bit? And, in the beginning, the immediate answer is to say, well, yeah, dude, for sure. And I would totally do that, but not in today's day and age. And I'll tell you why. Because not that I'm against, not spotting people on your team, but at the same time, people need to have a little fire under their ass right now. They need to start really understanding the depth of where this market is going. And this is gonna sound a little bleak and really not like Joe Brickman for a second, because the way that I do things over here is I'm looking for 6 months, in advance as to where the market's headed, right? And I'll tell you that in analyzing all of the data and looking all of the trends as to where things are going, right? I personally think that the third quarter of next year is going to be a phenomenal year going to be a phenomenal time in the year because elections are coming. And historically, what happens is as elections come up, the government finds a way to make people feel a little bit better by making gas a little cheaper, lowering taxes a little bit, trying to maybe even force the mortgage rates down, which are artificially inflated a little bit. And because that, why are they doing that? They're doing that because obviously they want people to come out and vote. They want people to believe in the longevity of the country. And that's why they do those things. And it's happened every single election. I've only been around for a couple of elections, but the beautiful thing is being able to analyze data. And if you go and you look at that data, that'll give you the confidence that if you have the wherewithal to stick it out for the next 9 months and to not completely self-implode by having commission breath and being scared of actually really talking to your clients and explaining to them what the value is of buying a house right now. Like there are still houses and there are still deals out there where if you can buy the deal properly, you buy the house, you get the equity. Yeah, the mortgage rate might be at 7-8%, but the beautiful thing about mortgage rates is that they change all the time. So if you buy a deal that makes sense and you're able to still invest, or if you need to move because your family is growing, people move for 3 reasons: diamonds, diapers, and divorce. So that is always happening, right? It's always happening. And because it's always happening, there are always going to need to be people who are going to need your help. But here's the difference. They need your help. They don't need you to sell them. So if you're going to focus on selling people, you're not going to go anywhere. But if you focus on providing value to people, people will push you forward. You won't have to worry about carrying forward. I'm sure you've been on a sailboat before because you're a really adventurous guy and you live in an awesome state where you're able to do all that fun stuff. And when you're on a sailboat, right? There you go. And when you're on a sailboat, right? Did it ever occur to you to check to make sure that you had gas for the boat?
Nope.
Why not?
Because I'm not a sailor. I'm not a sailor.
No, you're not a
big
sailor.
cloth thing up there, and that's supposed to move you along.
And they told you that what's the whole point of the boat? The boat is so cool that it's sailing. We're even going to call it a sailboat, right? And does the captain worry about the gas for the boat? No, because the boat doesn't need gas. So if you're worried about the wrong things, then you're never going to end up going where you need to go, or you're never going to be able to follow through on what you're trying to do because you're so nervous about everything else. When I first started my brand, I was called the modern day realtor, and within 7 days of setting up this brand, the National Association of Realtors received over 10 paid complaints against my name that I was in violation of some sort of whatever rule that I didn't know existed. And what did I tell them? I said, guys, I've been in this business for 7 days. I haven't had a chance to breathe and figure out what's going on. What makes you think that I have malicious intent right here, right now? I don't, and they excused that and they let me switch it up. But what did that tell me? It told me, number one, that people who do things in a bold, polarizing way are the first people that people are going to try to shoot down because these people feel that we're coming for the crown. They've been sitting around. They haven't been protecting that castle. And they wonder why, when the waves come in, it just knocks the whole thing down. It's because it's a sandcastle and you didn't put up a moat in front of it, and that's what's happening. I use a lot of beach examples just because I live right here on the water. So, if you're not going to insulate yourself properly, then how are you going to expect to be able to put out energy and then collect back? You can't. You need to have it down in a point where you're not looking to be able to collect things. You're looking to just put out. And that's really step 2 is understanding that this is a service-based business and you need to have a service-based mindset. You need to realize and understand that these people are making moves that to you, you can underwrite, DTI and LTV and run, credit and look at all these things and check their credit reports and whatever. But to these people, it's all foreign. Most people don't even know everything that goes into it. I had a mortgage broker once call me so exasperated with one of my referrals. And she's like, if only she knew what I was doing on this file, she would be so much more appreciative. And you know what I said? Tell her, motherfucker, tell her what you're doing. Because we keep so much of that, we try to make ourselves look so effortlessly amazing that we can always do it. But there's so much chaos in the background. People love seeing that chaos. People love seeing when you're working for them. So show them that you're working for them and show them how you working for them is different and better than working with anybody else.
Yeah, I think the behind the scenes look is something that people don't get, but obviously you look at society now with all of the quote unquote reality TV shows, like people thrive on that. And we do tend to protect what we do. You know, we want to just show them the pretty thing out front. But when you're doing things like you're doing and putting yourself out there, being in front of things, I mean, to have people come and complain after 7 days in the business of something you're doing, to me, that's like a badge of honor. Like, I'm making some waves, you know, I'm getting people's attention. You know, I think that's something that you should be proud of. Yeah, you got to change it a little bit because you don't want to break the rules and what have you. But like, if you're getting that much attention in a week, I mean, there's something to be said for that. And you're talking about like the opportunity from the real estate agent standpoint, you know, to go out and make a difference in people's lives. Like, how can you tell the consumer, what are the opportunities that you see in the market for people right now that they can take advantage of? Because there's tons of fear out there, you know, all over the place. That's all you hear in the news is fear, fear, fear. But I always try to preach to people, you know, millions are made in down markets. It's not at the top. You know, it's people who have the foresight to look at a down market and look at what people are afraid of and find the opportunities, the little nuggets that are there that they can turn into a mountain. What is it that you see in real estate or even outside of real estate that is the opportunities for consumers?
So check it out. You see a lot of people like, let me help you reframe that a little bit. Let's talk about, you know, a down market. Let's call it an opportunity market. Okay. The down market is what the stock analysis and those people who only are paid to talk shit say anyways. Most of those people, by the way, don't actually have real investments. You ever realize that? They're you know, they never really have any real skin in the game. And that is actually like a perfect analogy for everybody who talks shit. Nobody's got skin in the game. They just want to talk because they're expert commentators, because they have a piece of paper that tells them that they know what they're talking about. I ain't got no pieces of paper that tell me that I know what I talk about. But you know what I do have that I know what I'm talking about? 250 clients who've left me 5-star reviews, who are all very happy and felt that I showed up in a way to service them exactly how they need it. So look at this market as an opportunity market. This is not a down market. This is a market that if you're going to let it get you down, it'll get you down. But if you look at it as an opportunity market, I mean, we have $11.5 million in open contracts right now, me personally, not even my team, right? My team right now is working on 2 more contracts today, both over 7 figures. And we've put 5 listings on the market, me personally, and the team another 3. So when you look at it like that and you're running those numbers, right? And we're running it in 4 different angles. We're doing the commercial, the multifamily, the investment, and the single family residential. So we're hitting all of those angles in 1 week. And if you're going to tell me that we're in a down market right now, I'm going to laugh and I'm going to say, you know what? That's cool. When you're ready to sell your Rolex because you need money to pay rent, call me. I'll buy it. Because that's what's going on right now in this market. What's going on right now in this market is people are taking all the bullshit that they're being fed and they're eating it. They're eating it like it's going out of style. And then they turn around and they go, oh my God, why am I fat? Like, why do I feel this way? Why am I so nervous? Why am I so scared to make a move? Because that's all you're listening to is you're programming yourself to be scared. You're getting yourself to be ready. You know, you're setting it up in a way where you're going to fail because you're scared. So stop listening to all that shit and stop eating it and stop looking at where the Dow's holding and where the S&P is holding. You know, personally, the way I set it up, I had somebody who called me, one of my clients, the second deal that I did. A guy is worth a lot of money, and he bought this as a second house. And he told me, he said, Joe, promise me that every single week for the rest of your life, you're going to be investing $100 into the S&P. Do I know what it is? No. Do I know how it works? I understand the idea of compound interest, right? Am I going to turn around now and advocate for everybody to go put $100 in the S&P? No. But this is something that I'm doing for myself that, you know what? Over the course of the next 30 years, if it does compound and it does happen, and what? I put $100 a month. It's $100 that would have gone to something else anyways. I'm putting into investing in myself. Okay, let's see what happens, right? But that's a risk that I'm taking that I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I put myself in a position. There are some people who will do anything for $100 come the 29th of the month. And the fact that I'm able to take that and I'm able to just put that into an investment that I don't know where it's going to go, that's taking advantage of an opportunity. I'm taking advantage of an opportunity. Why am I taking advantage of an opportunity? Because I was able to do work to put myself in the position to now take advantage of that opportunity because I have an extra $400 a month that I can invest now into something. So understand that in order to get from the mindset of a down market to an opportunity market, you can't just wake up one morning and say, okay, guys, let's create some opportunity. You can, but it's not going to be sustainable if you just wake up one morning and do it. You got to build out a process. You got to build out a system that will entitle you to. You know, I had somebody last week come to a job site that I have for a property of mine, and the guy showed up and he hung around for 3 hours and he goes, "All right, Joe, I got to go." And I was like, "Okay." And he goes, can you pay me?" And I was like, "Pay you for what, dude?" And he's like, "Well, I was here for 4 hours." I was like, "Yeah, but you didn't do nothing. Like, I was literally here. Like, my fingernails are dirty, bro. Where are you at?" He's like, "Yeah, man, but I showed up." I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "You're not going to pay me for showing up?" And I was like, what does that mean? You know, like, that's the mentality where people are these days, is they just want to get paid for showing up.
You want to buy a house, but high interest rates have got you down? Take the rate challenge and send us a verifiable loan estimate from another lender, and we'll beat it and pay for your appraisal up to $600. Here at Give Mortgage, being powered by U Mortgage allows us to provide you with unmatched speed and efficiency and the best rates and fees in the market, all while delivering you the concierge level service you deserve. We want you to have an experience getting a mortgage that you'll never forget, and not because you got put through a meat grinder to get it. At Give Mortgage, we give great advice, we give the best rates, and we give back to charity. Visit us at www.give-mortgage.com or call us at 480-331-4684 to schedule a free consultation to see how we can help.
Guess what? You can get paid for showing up, but not here, and not today, and not in this current market, not in this industry. You want to go get paid for showing up? Go get a job, like a real 9-to-5 that'll pay you like $11 an hour. And I'm not going to say go get a job at McDonald's, because growing up, the biggest threat that was used to me is that because I'm non-conforming, I'm not even going to be able to get a job to be a burger flipper at McDonald's. So go get a job in McDonald's. You actually have growth opportunity. In any corporate company, any one of those companies, I would much rather have had an opportunity to go and work in one of those restaurants than to go work on the beach. Like, if I'm being fucking real, because that, in the beginning, it's hard, because a lot of mortgage brokers, they're used to be either being salary plus commission. And a lot of other people, like real estate agents, they're used to being tips only or commission only or salary. And to now switch over to this type of market, I can understand why it's very hard. Like, I get it. I sympathize with those people, man. I really do. Like, it sounds like, with everything I'm saying, that I'm very non-acknowledging sometimes of those people. And to anybody that's listening to an uncensored podcast that feels a little soft, let me help you out a little bit, okay? Because I totally get where you're coming from when it comes to being scared, and it comes to being nervous, and it comes to not knowing where you're going. But the reason for that is because you've become relaxed and complacent when it comes to pushing things, when it comes to doing things. You've just become, to a point now that there's going to be work involved, and you're going to be like, what? No, I can't do that, right? Like, and you need to jump into that. You need to own that. You need to understand right now that in order for you to take advantage of this opportunity, you got to roll up your sleeves, and you got to really get down and dirty. You got to climb that summit, and you got to live stream 3 times like Brian did. Every level that you went to, why did you live stream again? Because you were like, holy shit, I thought that was the top. Oh my God, I got to show this, right? It was like, oh, whoa, and that, because crazy things happen when you just keep going. And that's literally it. Like, that's a perfect example. Always remember that to yourself, bro. Like, you went up once, and you thought, oh my God, this is it. And then you went, okay, let's go up a little higher. And you're like, oh my God, this is actually the top. We give ourselves so many perceived limits and so many perceived levels, that sometimes we just get in our own way. And, I can tell you that, man. Like, I live with depression, and I struggle with anxiety. And the last couple of days, bro, it's been fucking hard. Like that, I'm trying to build something without an office, because my office is under renovations, and I'm trying to do something in a way that most people, if they didn't have 10 people on a back end staff, they would think you're crazy. But I'm bought in to this dream, and I'm really going to make it happen, not just for me, but for the 10, 15 people that are relying on me to make this happen. So sometimes I wake up in the morning and my heart just goes crazy, And I sit down and I go, okay, this is crazy. Like I shouldn't be doing this. Like I shouldn't be walking out of my room right now to go hyperhydrate and then start fucking shit up because eventually I'm going to fail. And you know what? It's possible. But here's the cool part. I've failed before. And I know what failure looks like. And I know that failure fucking sucks. But you know what? I got this thing called cash confidence. Okay? And cash confidence, a lot of people, when you hear about that term, cash confidence, you think, okay, well, he has money in the bank. The guy's balling, right? He's cool. Like, okay, great. Like, what does that work to me? Nah, bro. Cash confidence means that you have the confidence in yourself that no matter where you may end up, you can go and you can recreate the life that you've built for yourself right here today. Because most real estate agents who are still living off of their last closing commission that happened in July, right? They're struggling. So if you're going to tell me that cash confidence means the money you have in the bank, that means all those people shouldn't be confident. It means all those people should be very, very nervous. I got people on my team who, because of where they were the last few months, they haven't closed the deal and they're living off of their commissions right now, really trying to make it work. But you know what? Those people are not nervous. Those people are not scared. Those people are not thinking every day, oh my God, how much money did I make today? Because they're following a system. And they know that if you work the system and you work the process and you put the energy out in the world, that will not entitle you, but that will give you the opportunity to receive. It's going to come through. You know, if you want a blessing, if you want to get something, you know, they say there's no atheist in a foxhole, right? And I laugh because when I was in the army, there were these two dudes, like, you know, in the Israeli army, everybody's Jewish, right? And they really push a lot of, like, there's times for prayer, you know, for sometimes if we're not like full combat mode. And there's a lot of little things that are there that are being enforced as being a Jewish army. And there are these two guys who were in the unit with us who every opportunity, like, yeah, whatever, my religious doesn't make a difference. But the point is that, you know, there were these two guys who, whenever the guys would stand up to pray, they would laugh and they would make jokes. And sometimes they wouldn't be respectful. We didn't say nothing. No one said anything. But guess what? The one time that we took fire, live fire from the fucking Gaza border, guess what those people did?
Covered up.
They said, pray for us. Help us get out of here. You know, when we jumped out of a plane for the first time, you know, in a parachute, we all said a traveler's prayer. They said amen. They subscribed to it because these people, it's very easy to have a very thick and tough skin that's impenetrable until there's something that's challenging you on a very core fundamental level. Jumping out of an airplane with 85 pounds of combat gear on you at 1,400 feet is not the smartest fucking idea. But the fact that you're doing that, right? And you're in an area where now you're like, oh my God, this actually does not make sense, but I'm doing this. God, please help me. Or whichever subscription I believe to, you know, I subscribe to, please help me, right? I'm looking at that now and I'm saying, remove the God for a second and focus on pouring into your business. Look at your industry and say, real estate industry, please help me. And what does the real estate industry want from you in order to help you? They want your commitment. They want you to get involved. They want you to do things in a way that no one's ever done before. Because if you do that, it's impossible for you to not win because you're so much that something's going to hit somewhere. You know, we're spending a lot of money every month on marketing and we put a lot of money out on marketing. But you know where I get my best quality leads? Meeting people, talking to people, communicating with people in forums like this. You know, people hear me and they go, Joe, I got to connect you with my boy. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. You know, those are the best quality leads. Do those come every day? No. Do I expect those to come every day? I don't expect them, period. But they come because of the other effort that I'm doing. They come because of the mailers that I send out twice a month without failure, no matter where the market's at. Real estate agents, if you cut your mailer marketing down now, or if you cut your marketing down in general, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you looking for ways to cheap out in an industry that you have an opportunity to pull $30,000, $40,000 commissions in one fucking deal? What is wrong with you? And that's what I look at myself. And that's how I tell myself in the morning when I get out of bed, Joe, you can't do this. I say, what is wrong with you? Of course I can. I did it yesterday. I'm doing it tomorrow. I did it the day before. Did I do it perfect? We're not all perfect. You know, and I do have very high standards for myself. And sometimes my team looks at me and they go, Joe, chill out. You're okay. And I go, no, but, and they go, dude, you're good. And I push myself to those standards sometimes. Look in the mirror and remind yourself that you're good. Because if you get out there, even talk to one person today, even inspire one person today, even help one client today, you know, you're in a position where most people are not. You're doing something that most people are not. Most people are not even like picking up the phone. Most people are not even getting out there and doing something. And you're already here listening to the Real Estate Uncensored podcast, looking for something to grow. So if you want one thing to grow from, go back and do step one, which is day one of putting yourself out there. Let people know what you do. Let people know that you can help them. Brian, you do a phenomenal job by doing all those videos and by letting people know, hey, this is what mortgages look like. This is what a down payment looks like. That's called being a service advisor. You're helping people accomplish something that they need help being serviced with. Does it sound sexy? No, but that's okay because
Wait, mortgages are sexy. I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
You know what? In that case, bro, that's exactly why you're killing it. It's exactly why you're killing it. But let's talk to the mortgage broker who's a little not thinking about the sexy, right? Let's talk about the guy who's like nervous about going to ask for a 1003 and all the info that's needed. And the guy who's going to ask for that list that underwriting just kicked back. That's like 80 feet long, you know, and you have to go get all those stuff. Those people, how do you call, you know, when I built a mortgage brokerage in 2017 here in Miami. I was never successful in getting my license, but I built out the whole back end. And we used to call people and follow up to ask them for their documents, right? And the massive shift that we had that changed that from following up, you know, like, hey, I was just calling to get you, we need to get these documents in order to make this work. You know, instead it was, hey, listen, we're almost done here, right? And in order for us to finish helping you, we just need to finalize this, this, and this, right? Do you have that handy? So what does it sound like? It changes the whole game now, right? We're already in the process. We're already working for you. We're already making it happen. I just need this, this, and this in order to finish working for you.
Yeah, it's about how you service them. Mm-hmm. You know, it's all about how you service them. And I think, you know, one of the big points that you're touching on and making with this is that, you know, our own worst enemy is our own mind. You know, our competition it's not other people, it's within ourselves. You know, if you have an ego, if you have a fear, if you have a hesitation, you have any of those things. I mean, those are all things that you work against every single day. And I know you've got a process in the morning that you start with, and I do the same thing too. And that's one big piece of advice. And I don't care what industry you're in, is how do you start your day? Like if you let all of those negative thoughts creep into your head first thing in the morning and you don't turn them around by being positive, you know, getting exercise in the Miracle Morning. You know, if somebody wants a great book to read the Miracle Morning and put that into practice. Like you've got to feed yourself the positive things to get yourself motivated. Like what kind of things do you do in the morning to get yourself going?
So that's a phenomenal question. And, you know, as I've been adding more agents to my team, a lot of people have been asking me the same thing. Like, Joe, what do you do? And we've started opening up this idea of building this routine together. So let me walk you through my schedule. I wake up at 3:15 every morning. From 3:15 to about 3:20, 3:25, I just give myself the 5-10 minutes to like think to myself, what the fuck is wrong with me? And why am I doing this? And then I look in the mirror and I remind myself that there is nothing wrong with me and I'm just the man on a mission, you know, and that's why I'm up here this early making this happen. And then I chug 26 ounces of water. It's called hyperhydration. It's a method that I learned from one of my old coaches. His name's Alex Sharfin. And, you know, he's got this idea where it's this cadence of the morning. And the biggest thing that I took away from him was, you know, hyperhydration. So I do that. I wait a couple of minutes just to, you know, let everything kind of relax. And then from there, I go into a meditation space. So I go straight from my bed to the floor, meditate, you know, get a little grounded. Once I meditate, from there, I will jump into my ice bath that I have in my backyard. So I'll fill that up with ice, get it down to 35 degrees, and I'll sit in there for at least 7 minutes. In order to kind of take my mind off of that, I plug into Audible. So I got Audible running in my ears. As I'm listening to, you know, that, I kind of just make it my way into the bath. From there, you know, depending on 7, 10, 12 minutes, I really try to push myself a little bit some days. I'll spend another 20 minutes on Audible, and then from there I'll go and I'll write. So I'm taking the reading, and then straight from there my brain's working. I'm writing right away. The last like 2-3 days I've been trying to write first before I read, but honestly my brain's not up it yet, and it's just a whole bunch of gibberish. So that's why I like to get my brain rolling with someone else's thoughts, because when you listen to a book or you read a book, you're actually connecting with the essence of the writer, of the author. And when you connect with somebody like that, especially somebody who has authored books and done a lot in their lives, it gives you an opportunity to share some of that energy and to take that with me in the morning. So now that I'm doing 75 hard, I'm also reading 10 pages. So I'm reading 10 pages of a book in the morning as well. It takes me about 7 minutes. And then from there, we go into reviewing my task list. And then I start checking my emails at about 6 o'clock. I practice Spanish from 6 to 6:30. And then at 6:30, I have, I call it script talk. People get weird sometimes when you call it role play. But we sit and, I have different partners that I practice calls and dialogues with in order to be able to get sharper on the phone, and talking and sales. So, we'll do that. From there, at 7 o'clock, I'll start checking in with my team. So we got a team internationally that's in Guatemala. We call them the Modern Day Angels. They're our backend, sales and customer service and support. So I'll start checking in with them at about 7:15, 7:30, organizing all of our tasks, making sure that everybody has clear expectations for the day. And then at 7:45, we hop on our team meeting. At 8 o'clock, we start banging the phones, because at 8 o'clock, we're allowed to start calling. So we reach out to people who, may not be aware that their house is no longer available for sale, or may not be aware that their real estate agent isn't doing the best job in marketing it for them, and letting them know that, we have a proven process that sold over 100 homes last year, that we're able to help them here locally and give them the opportunity to meet with us. And then at 11 o'clock, we sit down for 5 minutes. We kind of, compare notes. And then I go to the gym. And then from the gym, it gives me an opportunity to really just clear myself, remove myself from everything that's going on, and dig in on me. Because, normally from that time from 8 to 11, we're already scheduling, showings and appointments and things like that. So from 1 to 5, I'm on what's called road time. I'm in the car driving. I always listen to books or I have conversations. I started recording this podcast called The Modern Day Minute, which is basically 10, 15 minutes while I'm in the car driving to and from appointments. There's a lot of background noise, so we're trying to figure out how to do it. But I figured, we'll maximize the time. And then, at 5 o'clock, I'll check in with my team just to make sure that everything is kind of rolling the way it should be. And then if we need to, we'll hop on a meeting at 5:30. 6:30 for me is a hard stop in terms of I must get up and I must make sure that I eat. I have reminders throughout the day to eat my meal preps, but honestly, sometimes I don't. And then from there, at 6 o'clock, I kind of debrief. So we write down everything. We start preparing, to-do lists for the next day. We start getting everything, making sure that everybody has everything that they need. And then at 7:30 p.m., I shut down my computer, or at least I'm supposed to shut down my computer. And then at 9:30 p.m., I plug my phone into the charger and I get ready to go to bed. That's my day.
That's awesome. I think everybody could benefit from having a routine and a schedule that's dialed in like that. Well, I appreciate you jumping on with me today. Obviously, you've got it all scheduled out and you're a busy guy. And I wanted to say thank you for letting me into the video challenge that we've been doing. I think it's been a fantastic thing, and really kind of opened my eyes and getting me on being consistent. So thank you for that.
100%, man. Honestly, I am really happy that you're, been taking this challenge with us. You overall getting to know you the last couple of days, last 17 days we've been doing this. I feel that, the people that you work with in the mortgage space are really, really lucky to have you as an advocate for them, because the way that you care about your business and the way that you put yourself into your audience and into your people and into helping them is something that, honestly, with what's going on right now in this market, it's very, very rare. So whoever's listening to this podcast that is working with you, first of all, they should know, that they're really lucky to be working with you. And then, for those of you who are considering working with Brian, definitely reach out to him, because I've seen him talk about mortgages live on 3 different occasions with 3 different agents. And he literally said the same exact thing, which means that this guy actually knows what he's talking about. He actually knows what he's doing. And he's somebody that I would trust if I was looking to get a mortgage where you're at. So that being said, if there's anything that I can do to anybody here on this podcast, or if you guys have any questions, you can find me My email is growth@modernDayAgent.info. So you can send me anything over there. And dude, this was amazing. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
I appreciate it. If they want to call, reach out to you, or go to your website, what's your other contact info?
Oh, for sure. So Growth actually is the only email that emails directly to me. You can reach out to me at 954-493-1100. That's our phone number. Reach out to us. If you don't get in touch with me, ask for me and somebody will transfer you. Mention Brian's name and you'll come right through. You can follow me online at Gotta Call Joe. That's my handle. You can find that everywhere. And if you want to learn a little bit more about me, just take my name, Joe Brickman, JoeBrickman, paste that into your Google browser right on top of this screen, and have fun.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you very much for joining us today, Joe. Thank you guys all for listening or watching, whichever platform you're on. Again, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to give us a 5-star rating so we can keep bringing you good information. And tune in next week for the next episode of the Uncensored Real Estate Podcast. Everybody, take care. Have a fantastic day.
Let's make it a great day.
Thanks for joining us, and please remember to go and subscribe, like, share, all that cool stuff to help us grow, and come back to listen to our next episode. Until then, go out and live life uncensored.
Thanks for listening to the Uncensored Real Estate Podcast. Don't forget to help us out and subscribe. Follow and give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform. And check us out on YouTube for the full video podcast. If you want more information on any of the topics discussed on today's episode, email us at uncensoredrealestatepodcast@gmail.com or give the Cardenas Mortgage Team a call at 480-331-4684.